Okay, today let's go. Sorry, sorry. This one. Okay, sorry. Up. And let me share it. Okay. So everyone has seen my slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, like I said to you before. Okay, when we are working with heat engine, anything engine, we need to extract anything that can be extracted. So energy is always flowing from the higher potential to the lower one. So either maybe it's water, wind. Okay, wind is always flowing to the higher pressure to the lowest one, and then for our working fluid. Okay, so how to give our working fluid as highest potential as possible? Okay, highest in this term. Okay, we can call it enthalpy. Enthalpy is the potential energy. Okay, so when we have highest enthalpy, okay, then we can transform it to the movement. Okay, something like that. Okay, so this is it. Yeah, and let's really sorry, I want you to have this one first. Okay, where should I send it? Can I send it through your chat room? Wait, chat. I'm gonna send it. Okay. Nice. Where is it? It's computer documents. Okay. Looking stuff. Wait. Okay. Then you can have my PPT. Okay. It's okay. Wait. still being sent. Okay. Okay. So I want you to open. I want all of you to open this one. Okay. So have you downloaded it? Okay. Done. Download it. Okay. So now let's work with the cycle. Okay. Okay. Yeah. It's always related to the cycle. Okay. When we are working with ideal Brayton cycle, we always keep in mind on 3 steps. Okay. 3 steps. Okay. 3 steps. First is isentropic compression. Second one is what? Isobaric heating. And then third one is isentropic expansion. Okay. When you read Professor Harris' book, okay, by Harris' book, only 3. Okay. Even though the fourth, okay, the fourth, we should be called kind of isobaric cooling. Okay, for the closed cycle. Okay, but in a real application, okay, for the real application of the gas turbine, okay, it rarely happens. Okay, because what is our working fluid for Brayton cycle on the earth? Okay, on the earth. Okay, we don't talk this one at the outside of the earth. So what is our working fluid here? You still remember yesterday?
Air, sir.
Water.
Air. Okay. Air. Nothing else. Okay. So it's only air. Okay. So many students were confused when they talk about the Otto, diesel, and Brayton. They always talk about, okay, the working fluid is CO2, a little bit CO2, and then CO, then air. It's not correct. Okay. Because the flow of the hydrocarbon is always smaller, much smaller compared to the air. Okay. So we can always assume like that. Okay. So have you opened your PowerPoint and then open slide number 9? Have you opened it?
Yes, sir. It's already open.
Okay. Let's do our classical way. It's always classical. It's always good to give you the, what can I say? Perfect. This better understanding. Okay. So just see this one. Read this one. Let's read it together. Consider a gas turbine operated at 0 meter AGL above ground level. So it's really near to the sea, suppose. Okay, so 0 meter. So what is the pressure at 0 meter AGL? What is the pressure there? What is the atmospheric pressure in there? It's 1 atmosphere, isn't it? 1 bar, suppose. Okay. Yeah. So you have the pressure at 1 bar. Okay. 1 bar. And then this surrounding is at 25 degrees centigrade. So just convert it to 298 Kelvin. Then compression ratio. So what is compression ratio? Compression ratio, okay, when you have something, sorry, I had to draw it like this, okay, in here. Okay, you have here P1, you have here P2. So compression ratio is P2 over P1, okay. So what is the P1? Is 1 bar. So what is the P2? What is the P2 here? If we have compression ratio is equal to 10, and in this chapter, especially this chapter, is always called as RP, okay, ratio of pressure. So what is the P2? The P2 is 10, okay, 10 bar. That's simple, okay, 10 bar. Here is 10 bar, okay. And then T exit combustion chamber, okay. So here is it is, okay. What should I do? Okay, it's good. Okay, imagine it's gonna be like this. Okay, then outside of this one, instead of giving like this is the combustion chamber. Okay, sorry. Okay, and then here, here is the turbine. Okay, yeah, something like this. Okay, and single shaft. Okay, now, actually there are several types of turbine. I'm gonna explain it to you later. Okay, we have 1 bar here, then pressurized. Okay, and then to become, sorry, I'm gonna erase this one. Erase this one. Sorry, yeah. Okay, so here is 1 bar. Okay, here is 1 bar, and then outside of the compressor is 10 bar. And then outside the burning chamber, okay, here we put a little bit of fuel, okay. And then here is what? Still 10 bar, but the temperature is what? 90 degrees centigrade, 900 degrees, sorry, 900 degrees centigrade. Then here we will have what? Here is another 1 bar, okay? Is another 1 bar. Is another 1 bar. That's all. Okay. We have the T1 here is equal to 25 degrees centigrade. And here we have T2. And then here we have T3 equal to 900 degrees centigrade. And then we have T4. Okay. So what happens in here? At the first 1 bar, we compress it isentropically. Okay. With P2 over P1 equal to 10. Then after that, we a little bit added combustion, okay, combustion agent, some kind of oil, or I don't know, after you use fuel, okay, and then to increase the temperature up to 900 degrees Celsius. But here is isobaric heating, and then after that after we have the highest enthalpy possible, okay, we have here is H1, here is H2, and here is H3. Then we will have H4, okay. Okay, a little bit pause. I'm checking my home, okay. Yesterday my home was dripping, okay, water was dripping from my roof, okay. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, so you guys know, okay, know the process of it. Okay. Okay. So you got the idea? Any question up to this point? Up to this point? Any question? No, not yet. Still good. Okay. Now, can I erase this one? Yes, erase this. Okay, I'm gonna erase this one. Then let's find it. Okay. So 0 meter AGL is 1 bar. So here, when you see, okay, let me zoom it. Okay, let me zoom it. Okay, here at the what can I say? A diagonal curve. This thing, okay, is pressure. Okay, and it's stated as bar. Okay, it's pressure. Okay, and then at the left side is the temperature at the most left. Okay, the black one is the temperature, and then a little bit to the right is the specific enthalpy. Okay, the specific enthalpy in here. Okay, you got it. And here at the x-axis, okay, horizontal axis, okay, is the specific entropy. Okay, that's all. Okay, when you drew it, I believe both Pak Awan or Pak Hendra have already taught you how to draw the Rankine cycle. Same basic, really same basic. Okay, let's find it. Okay, let's find it. What happened with my computer? Okay. Wow, it's error. Oh, sorry. Okay. Now let's find it at 1 bar. Okay. 1 bar. 1 bar. Where is the line of 1 bar? Let me give the, oh, this one. Okay, this one. 1 bar. 1 bar. Here. So 25 degrees centigrade. Maybe around here. Okay, let me draw the mark first. Okay, or maybe 25 degrees centigrade, maybe around here. Sorry, my eyes possibly wrong. Okay, and then what? Isothermically, isentropically, what? Compress. Okay, so we will go to the P2. Okay, the P2 here is at 10. So this one is 10. You can zoom it by yourself. Sorry, I couldn't really find better graph here. So yeah, it's gonna be around here. Okay. Okay, so let's check the T2. What is the T2? When we increase the pressure or compress it isothermically. Just T2S here. Okay, let's check it. Okay, so this one is 10. Okay, yeah, I'm not wrong. Okay, so when from 1 till 10, so what is the temperature? It's around 275, suppose. Okay, 275 degrees Celsius. 275 degrees Celsius. Okay, and then what after that? From what is the next step was what? Next step is what? Is
isobaric heating.
Isobaric heating up till 900 degrees centigrade. Okay, so let's find. Okay, let's find it. Okay, let's find it here. 200 at the same diagonal line. Okay, same diagonal line. 900. Okay, sorry, my eyes is a little bit not good. Sorry. Here. Okay. Okay, you can actually you can mark it by yourself. Okay, okay, yeah, sorry. Okay, 900 centigrade. Okay, here. Then what? We expand it. Okay, we expand it to 1 again. Okay, here is what? Yeah. This one we have isentropic. Okay, so that's all. Okay, that's it. So last time I taught regular class with Rankine, my drawing was bad, so I had to use the ruler. But can you draw it by yourself? Okay, Draw it by yourself, okay? And I want this assignment, okay? I want this step, okay? Step by step, okay? I want you to write it down, okay, in clear and concise manner, and yes, and good writing, okay, and then submit it, okay, as a not quiz, as assignment for today's meeting, okay. Okay, so basically utility system is just thermodynamic second or third, okay, and combined with mass and heat balance, and then combine a little bit other knowledge, okay. Okay, another subject, okay. So nothing new in here. I was just trying to improve your understanding, okay.
Sir,
Yes.
for this question, is the enthalpy given, sir? Or
Yes.
the entropy?
What do you mean, Kevin?
I don't know how to get the first point, sir. Like I know you're given the pressure, right, sir, for the first point. But then what else do you relate to, sir? Like, is the entropy given in the question,
Yes,
sir?
entropy is in here, Kevin.
From the question, sir? Is it stated?
No, that is it. Just because I gave the information that what the compression happens isentropically, okay? So we don't really care about how much the initial entropy. We just want to draw a straight line at the TS.
So you made like a random number of entropies, sir?
No, it's not a random number. So it's not a random number, okay? Because the degree of freedom is already known. Here, 25 degrees Celsius and 1 bar.
Okay, sir, I understand, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. The temperature, yeah, we got it from the temperature.
Specific entropy is there, okay? I believe you have studied this when you did it with Rankine cycle, okay? Yeah, it's there, okay. But for Rankine cycle, there is a mountain in here. It's a big peak, something like that, and you really, what can I say? You are really wary or be really careful when you change the phase, okay? Isentropic pumping, okay. Yes, because you never want to increase the pressure of steam. You always want to increase the pressure of water. And then what? Isobaric heating. You find out the isobar line. Then what else? Isentropic expansion. And you are going to be very careful with that, because when you put your pressure too low, what happens, Kevin? When you expand isentropically, when you do your Rankine cycle, what happens?
Sorry,
when you do your Rankine cycles, okay? What happens when your isentropic line get across the phase line? You still remember that?
It's not straight anymore.
No, it's not about, it's always straight. For isentropic, it's always straight, okay? For TS diagram, isentropic is always straight, okay? Either goes up or goes down, it's always straight. But what happens in Rankine cycle, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, I didn't mean to preview your Rankine cycle knowledge, but when you put the line too low, okay, suppose you are using condensing turbine, okay, instead of back pressure turbine, what happens? The phase is changed, okay, a little bit. The steam is going to be wet, and it's what? It's dangerous for your turbine, okay? But the good thing, at the Brayton cycle, we don't really care about that, okay? Because air is going to be there, and air is always in the form of gas, okay? Okay. You still remember about that, Kevin?
Yes, somehow, sir. Yes.
Somehow, okay? That's why I give you not only the equation, okay? Imagine, okay? Use your imagination. And I hope you keep this for your future, okay? Okay, yeah. So degree of freedom has been, no, it's always 0 in there. So we have this one, okay? Let me, okay. Let me erase, sorry. Okay, let me erase this one. Okay, so I want you to make a tabulation here. Okay, maybe your tabulation is going to be better than me because I'm teaching here. Okay, and possibly my focus and concentration is less better than you. Okay, because I'm talking and explaining things. Okay, when you are giving the mark, I wish, okay, and I believe you will have better accuracy. Okay, so let me make this tabulation. Okay, condition. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then what do we get here? P. Okay, what do we get here? T. And what is the most important thing? H. Why do I love this TS diagram? Because whenever we have to deal, okay, whenever we have to deal with any moving equipment for expander or maybe compressor, okay, it's always isentropic assumption at the very beginning, okay, even though it's not quite correct, but for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of studying, okay, it's always assumed as isentropic. And for the PV, isentropic is always kind of tricky, okay? The line of isentropic is more difficult to find compared to the TS diagram, okay? So what is the condition of the P1? P1 is 1 bar, okay? What is the P2? 10 bar, okay? What is the P3? Huh? What is the P3?
10 bars as well.
10 bar. Yes, 10 bar. Okay, please memorize this thing, okay? Not memorize, just please remember this thing, okay? And then P4.
1 bar, sir.
Another 1 bar, okay? So what is the T1? 25 degrees centigrade. What is the T2? You see with your eyes.
About 270, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in a sense, because it's a graphic one, okay? 270 degrees centigrade. Possibly. What is the T3? T3?
900, sir.
900, okay. And what is the T4? Maybe 370 something, okay? Okay. Okay. So most important thing is the enthalpy. So what is the H1? Okay, let's find it. H1. H1, okay. This is one, the specific enthalpy, okay. Specific enthalpy. Why do I find it at 0? Anyone can answer? Why? Because when you deal with water, okay, at the P1 is not 0, isn't it? The enthalpy. But why? In this case, okay, is 0. What happens? What happens? Anyone wants to share their opinion? No? It's okay. Okay. Because enthalpy, what is the equation for enthalpy? Delta H is equal what? N CP delta T. And mostly the experiment to find the delta H happens at what?
25 degrees.
25 degrees centigrade. Okay. So here is 0. Okay. And then what is the enthalpy at 270 degrees centigrade? This is the yellow line, maybe 250. Okay, let's make it easy. Okay, 250. What is the unit? Kilojoule per kilogram. Okay. Okay. So what is the enthalpy at 900. Let's zoom it. 950, okay? Around 950, okay? Don't expect me to give you accurate numbers. for you, I mean, it's already challenging. Even though furthermore for me, it's gonna be more challenging. And 50 kilojoule per kilogram. Then, what is the enthalpy at 4? 350, maybe 380, I'm not sure, 370 maybe. 370 kilojoule per kilogram. Okay. So, have you guys found it? So, let's go back to the question. Energy involved in compression. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this one. Okay, what is energy involved in our compression? Okay, so energy used in our compression, WC, okay, compression is equal to what? It's simple when you are dealing with the cycle. It's always M delta H. That's all. Okay. Okay. But you need to be very careful. Okay. Sometimes the delta H is stated at kilojoule per mass, kilogram or gram, or possibly the delta H is gonna be presented at kilojoule per mole. Okay. It depends on. Okay. So I'm gonna say specific energy at the compression is delta H. So you can see here 250 minus 0 equal to 250 kilojoule per kilogram. Okay. Okay. At the compression. So let's answer it here. 250. Okay. Kilojoule per kilogram. Okay. Then what else? What else? What is the other question? Energy involved in heating. Okay. Energy involved in heating. Okay. Let's erase it. Okay. Let's erase it. Q. Okay. It's always the same. Okay. M delta H. And sorry about that. Sorry. Why? Sorry. Okay. M delta H, or here M equal to multiplied with what? H3 minus H2. Okay, so QH per M in here, what is it? 950 subtracted with how much is it? 280? 280, yeah, 280. Okay, how much? Help me. 0.76. Am I correct here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, 0 kilojoule per kilogram. Okay, let's answer it. Here we have 670 kilojoule per kilogram. And the energy involved in air expansion. So at the air expansion, okay. Okay. Air expansion. At the air expansion. Simple. Okay. Okay. The turbine is always okay. What should I do? H3 minus H4 or H4 minus H3? Okay. Actually, in the real application, nobody really cares about. Okay, H3 minus H4. It doesn't really matter because the absolute value is there. Okay. So yeah, it's okay. The thing is, we just need to what can I say? We just need to make sure. Okay, what is our purpose? Okay, If our purpose to generate kinetic energy or moving energy, mechanical energy, okay, that means our intention is always focus, okay, on the expansion energy. Okay, so here, yeah, it's okay. I'm just going to use H3 minus H4. Okay, so to M here. What is this? So you can use 950 minus 370. Okay. So how much is it? 0, 8, 6. Okay.
5, sir.
Oh, sorry, 5. 5. Okay, 5. Okay, sorry, really. Okay, 580. Okay, here is 580 kilojoule per kilogram. So now we have it. Okay. So what is overall efficiency in here? Cycle is what? Turbine minus compression QH. Okay. So what is the turbine? Turbine is 580 unit. And then minus with 2. Oh, sorry, really sorry. Sorry. Okay, 250 and divided with what? 670. So can you calculate it for me? What is the cycle efficiency? It's 270, isn't it? Not 230. 330.
49%, sir.
Okay, around 49%. Okay. This is 330, isn't it? Yeah, 330. Okay. Yeah. 49%. Okay. Unlike in the Rankine cycle, okay, we cannot neglect the, what is this? Work used in compressor or compression work. Okay. Just keep it in your mind. Okay. Compressing for compression or increasing the P of gas always consume more energy compared to increasing the P of liquid. Keep this in mind. Okay. Maybe next year you will have to start the plan design. Okay. Never, if you can compress your substance, okay, your fluid in its liquid phase, okay, never go to the gas phase. Okay. Okay, so you can see here, it's almost how many percent in here? Almost 50%. Okay, almost 50% compared to its expansion. Okay, yeah, the work of compression really takes a lot of energy. Okay, because even though it's called as compressible fluid, okay, even though the name is really good, okay, compressible fluid, okay, it's more difficult to increase its pressure, okay, much more difficult, okay, okay, and you if you read many engineering book or chemical engineering magazine, the rotation of compressor is much higher compared to the rotation of the pump, okay, okay, in order of 10, suppose 5 times or 10 times is much higher, okay, and it always consumes more energy. Okay, up till this point, is there any question from you? We are still working with ideal cycle. No? All is good? Okay, let's continue it then. Okay, so if we draw it, it's gonna be something like this. something like this, then something like this. Okay. And what happened to this one? Okay. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. Why? We are using, I mean, our working fruit is just being thrown away. Okay. Unlike the Rankine, say, I always put the comparison with Rankine because you have just finished studying it. You have just finished doing your second module exam. Okay. In Rankine, we always want to consider the key condenser. Okay. But in Brayton, normally we don't. Okay. 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 Let me explain it to you. Okay. What happens if we don't have the TS diagram? Okay. But can you keep your promise? Okay. Keep that diagram. Okay. For your entire career. It's gonna be useful for your career, entire career when you are working in plant. Okay. Suppose seriously. Okay. And one thing. Okay. Maybe it has been explained by Pak Indra or Pak Wawan that entropy is never what can I say? Is never directly involved in energy balance. Okay, it's just what? It's just a mapping. Okay, it's just kind of map. Okay, you can get my point. Okay, entropy is just working like a map, like a coordinate in there. Okay, it's there. Okay, especially when we are telling it is an isentropic compression, something like that. Then it's gonna be useful. Okay. 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 So this is and same case, but with different approach. Okay. What happens if there is no TS diagram in there? Okay. So let's calculate the energy involved by using another approach. Okay. Suppose here air is flown at 100 mole per second. So here the real work is going to be N Cp delta T. Why N? Because it's there. Okay. It's going to be the same with WC over N. It's going to be Cp delta T. It's going to be delta H. It's going to be the same. Okay. It's going to be there. Okay. Okay. And you don't really need to worry too much when you are working with Brayton cycle because there is no what? There is no lambda. What is lambda? Latent heat. Okay. Because the air is already in gas. Okay. Okay. And it's going to be in gas when we are still working on our below of Earth. Okay. Okay. So not assume. I believe you understood it from your thermodynamic class. Okay. There is a lambda here. Lambda. Okay. Gamma or lambda here? Gamma. Sorry, gamma. Not gamma Rafani, but this gamma. Okay. Gamma is the ratio of Cp over Cv. Okay. And when you are getting stuck, okay, when you are working with air, suppose you are working with waste heat boiler and you are working with anything else, okay, always use this approach. Okay, always assume, okay, at the first, not assume, but take assumption, or simplify. Okay, simplify your approach by assuming the ideal gas diatomic. Okay. Okay. Why is it 1.4? Because the Cp of ideal gas diatomic, what is it? 7/2 R. And Cp or Cv, okay, same thing is gonna be what? 5/2 R. Okay, remember this thing. Okay, okay. And you have, it's always 1.4, but at the real case, it's gonna be more complicated. Okay. You guys can get it, okay? Assume, okay? There are a lot of assumptions in order to ease your burden, okay? But it works, actually. It works, okay? Later on, I will tell my story to you, okay? Okay. Simplify this one, okay? And at least for the plant utility system class, you will have less worry, okay? Okay, you have gamma in here, and then you have the K in here, okay? I believe you have already studied this one. K is equal to gamma minus 1 over gamma. It's found by thermodynamic scientists. Then you get it, okay? For ideal gas, it's gonna be like this, okay? Then you can find, why do we need to get this one, okay? Because let me remind you, T2 over T1 is equal to over P1 what? K. And K is equal to gamma minus 1 gamma. Okay. You still remember this one? Okay. You still remember this one?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I was just, I was contacted. Really sorry. Okay, okay. I was just taking the time to see who contact me. I'm really, I'm really panicked when somebody contact me. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, there is so at the previous approach. Okay, we find the T2 by what? By using this TS diagram. Okay, as long it is isentropic, then it's go straight upside. Okay, then in here, suppose we don't have it. Okay, and we assume that the gas is ideal one. Okay, we can also find it. Okay, so can you help me? What is, how many degrees Celsius is here? 582 minus 273. Can you help me? Anyone? No?
309, sir.
309. Okay. So our approach by using our eyes was, yeah, maybe, I'm not sure. Which one is correct, do you think? I believe the TS diagram is more appropriate because it was collected by using experimental. Okay. But yes, it's close. Okay. And here, why did I say like that? Because this one only works for what? Only works for ideal gas. Okay. When the gas is quite less than ideal, then it's going to be like a little bit different. But what is maybe 280 from our eyes? Okay, maybe it was 290. I'm really sorry. Okay, so the delta maybe when we use the TS diagram, maybe just different 10 or 20 degrees centigrade. That's okay. And then how to find the compression work here? Actually, compression work is always PDV. Actually, it's always that. Okay, either the expansion or compression is always there. Okay, integral PDV. But okay, there's another approach in there. Okay, we can use N multiplied with delta H. Okay, and delta H is always N CPDT. Okay, okay. And when we are working with cycle, okay, thermodynamic cycle, always keep on your mind that anything related to the work consumed or work produced is always has anything to do with delta H. Okay, nothing delta S. Okay, delta H is there. Okay, and never, sorry, maybe I don't want to make you get confused. Okay, just forget this one. Okay, for any cycle is always like this. Okay, it's good. Okay, just remember this one, NCPDT and H. Okay. And since we do not know, okay, since we do not know the delta H by our eyes, okay, then we calculate the NCPDT delta T in here, okay, and get this one, okay. And be really careful, okay? Be really careful. Why? Because everything in here is always stated at Kelvin, okay? Never set in degrees centigrade, okay? Or Celsius, okay? Then you get it, then you have to work in here. Then what is the QH? Same, Cn Cp delta T, same here. Then you get it, okay? Here is what? 900 centigrade, okay? And here is something 309 degrees centigrade, you get it, okay? And another thing, when you expand it, okay? Okay, when you expand it, okay? You need to find the temperature. Why? Because we want to find NCP delta T. We don't have any other mean. We don't have any other method to find the delta H unless we have the TS diagram. Then it's going to be easy. Okay, you find the diagram. Then okay, so from here I expand it isentropically and then go down up till desired pressure. Then I get the H. But here you don't get the H. You don't get the enthalpy here. And then NCPDT, okay, here you have work compression, you have heating, and then what else do you have? You want to find work at turbine, okay? First thing comes first, you need to find the delta T here, okay? Then you need to use this mathematical correlation, okay? Okay, and this one is always useful. When we increase the pressure of gas, what will happen to the gas temperature? Anyone wants to answer? We increase it.
Increase as well, sir?
Yes, okay. Yeah. PV equal to nRT, okay. Same volume, okay. Suppose you have the same volume, same mole, R is going to be constant. Then what happens when you increase 10? The T is going to be what? Increased by what? 10, okay? Because the value is equal, okay? PV and RT here, okay? Maybe Z here. Z is equal to 1 for ideal gas, okay? When you increase here 10 is going to be, it has to compensate 10, okay? Okay, for the same volume, okay? So use this one, okay? So if suppose you forget, at the future you forget it, okay? Suppose I forget this relationship, okay? Please always remember, okay? When in the TS diagram, okay? Here we have T, we have S, okay? First is compression, blah, 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 here. And then here, and then here, okay? Here we have P1, P2, okay? At T2 must be higher than T1 because since P2 is higher than P1, okay? So oppositely, we have P3 and P4, okay? T3 must be higher than T4 since P3 is bigger than P4, okay? Use this logic, okay? Use this logic, okay? Never memorize everything. You have your own life, okay? You need to memorize your neighbor, suppose. You need to memorize the day you graduate, suppose, for your job application, okay? There are so many things else, okay? You need to memorize, okay? But here, use this logic. Okay, suppose you forget, okay? Suppose you get here T4 somehow bigger than T3, what happens? Okay, so you need to think, okay, my calculation must be wrong, okay? I wrongly applied the pressure, okay? Okay, and that is Then now we have NCP delta T. Here we have this one is T3, here is T4, then we have this one. Then what is the network? Net of work here? Here WT or work at turbine minus WC. Work at compressor, you have this one. And the efficiency of cycle is this one. Okay, so it's gonna be around the same with our last calculation by using the S diagram. Okay, so the problem is this actually. I give you. Okay, the problem. Sorry, I forget that I need this diagram. Okay, the problem is like this. Okay, okay. I hope after this you don't need to study for this matter in your comprehensive exam. Okay, yeah, because I give you very clear. I hope. Okay, the problem is always like this. Okay, you know T1, no. Okay, knowing. Okay, or maybe inform. Okay, you know T1, you know P1. Okay, because it's our atmospheric pressure, and you know P2. Okay, you know T3. Okay, and you know implicitly P4. Okay, and how to find the T2 here? Okay, is by using the equation. Okay, P1. Okay, okay, is equal to P2 or P1. Okay, okay, something like this. So why did I give you the TS diagram first? Okay, so I want you to what can I say? To imprint in your mind that T2 we don't know. Okay, that's it. Okay, T2 and T4 we don't know. That's why we are having problem. Okay, we are having problem. We are having an issue to solve the delta H, because the delta H is symbolized with NCP delta T. Okay. 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 That's the use of this equation and also the use of the S diagram. Okay. Any question up till this point? Okay, it's on the ideal one. You've mastered the ideal one, the non-ideal one is going to be piece of cake. Okay, and the other is going to be auxiliary knowledge. Okay, during the exam. Okay, aren't you allowed to open any textbook? Yeah. Okay, you are allowed, always allowed. Okay, especially during this pandemic season. Okay, work from home. Nah, it's okay. Okay. Any question up till this point? Because this is the key point of Brayton cycle. Other than that, then it's gonna be non-ideal one. Okay. Any question? No? Understood what did I say?
All good, sir. All good.
Okay, all good. It's easy, isn't it? Easy. It's piece of cake. And remember.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, it's easy. Piece of cake. I want you to remember this one. Okay. Now let's move to the other case. Okay. Okay. Now, what if we have non-ideal Brayton cycle? Okay, non-ideal Brayton cycle. So when we are having non-ideal Brayton cycle, it's kind of troublesome because, but it's there. Okay, we cannot afford it. Okay, it's there. Okay, what can I say? It's there and it's always having, it's always reducing our efficiency and something like that. When you still remember, okay, why do I always remind you on the Rankine cycle? Because I believe you have studied this one and it's always similar. Okay, when you have Rankine cycle, really sorry. Okay, really sorry about this one. Okay, you always have this one, blah blah blah. And oh, sorry, I wrongly draw this one. Really sorry. Okay, I have the Rankine cycle, blah, something like this. Okay, few isentropic. Okay, something like this. Okay, you still remember? Okay, this is the Rankine. Okay, and what happens if you have less isentropic efficiency? Okay, this is 3, this is 4. You still remember it? When isentropic, delta T isentropic, maybe T3 minus T4, and I have delta T polytropic, suppose here, okay? It's gonna be 3 minus 3 for actual. Okay, so if you still remember, where does T4 actual exist? Where is it? To the left or to the right?
To the left, sir.
To the left?
Wait. Here? T3 or T4, sir?
T4 actual. To the left or to the right? Actual one. Okay, let me give you the clue. It's always going to the 4. Okay, T4 actual. Okay, so instead of all energy being extracted as the mechanical energy, somehow, okay, when we have non-isentropic expansion, okay, the energy extraction is not working well, not 100%. Okay, when you have this one, okay, why do I always use the Rankine? Because Rankine is the easiest one. Okay, when you have this one, okay, I really like teaching this cycle. Okay, really good. Okay, when you have H3 minus H4, okay, actual, okay, compared to H3, sorry, why it's like this? Okay, H3 minus H4 isentropic, which one is bigger, the left side or the right side?
The right side, right side.
Yes, this one bigger, because not all the energy getting extracted when we have less isentropic efficiency in there. Okay, and it always same for any cycle. Okay, so let me zoom it for you. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm not talking about the compression first, okay, because our main actor, okay, our main actor in any cycles, in any cycle, okay, in any heat engine cycle is always the expansion. That is the main actor, okay. We want to utilize that one, okay. That's the main actor. Okay, when you see this one, okay, now let me ask you, when we have H3 minus H4S compared to H3 minus H4, which one is bigger? And you have this one. Which one is bigger?
Minus H4S, it's bigger.
Yes, because it has lower. Okay, something like that. So when you, that's why did I ask you to bring that TS diagram for your whole of your life? Okay, I want you to draw. Okay, maybe in your office. Okay, maybe in your own PC, your laptop. Draw the isentropic expansion when you are dealing with gas turbine. And I'm going to ask you one. Which one is bigger, T4S or T4?
T4 is bigger, sir.
Yes. Okay. So any expansion, okay, any turbine expansion that has bigger T, okay, when the T of the expansion is increased, that means is trouble, it's problematic. Okay. So when you are operating the gas turbine, okay, when you bought the gas turbine, a new gas turbine, okay, the exhaust temperature maybe around 400 degrees centigrade. Oh, that's good, okay, that's a new one, okay. Then after 1 year, the exhaust temperature is getting bigger, 450. What do you want? What do you think when you have 450? What happens?
It's not good, sir.
No, it's not about. It's normal, okay. But what happens? Can you imply anything with that fact? That means what? The overall efficiency of your gas turbine is deteriorating. Okay, it's getting worse because it's normal. Okay, and it happens because somehow the blade may be broken. Okay, something gets inside. Okay, or maybe getting abraded. Okay, getting eroded. Okay. Yeah, it can get eroded. Okay, and when when it is eroded, that means the extraction energy does not work quite well, and then yeah, you have higher exhaust temperature. Okay, that's it. So let's and now let's think about the antagonist one. So we have the protagonist, okay, the main actor, and now we have the bad one, quote by quote. Okay, so same things, okay, happen with compressor. Okay, when you are working in refrigeration company, okay, or gas company, okay, or anything, okay, when you are working with this thing, when your exhaust temperature of compressor get increased, what happens? It means the efficiency of your compressor is deteriorating. Okay, is reduced. Okay, that's the logic. Okay, huh? Okay, you understand this thing? Okay, I'm always starting from the simplest thing first. Okay, yeah. So this one is, that's why I give you this assignment maybe later. Okay, now you can see here compressor efficiency can be described as the work, okay, compressor at the isentropic one, okay, divided by work actual. Okay, and here you can see, okay, the work is gonna be here, okay, because delta S and delta H, and then you can equate this out because N and CP are gonna be same. Okay, so don't complicate your time, your don't complicate your life. Okay, sir, but the CP is also function of T, A plus BT plus C T squared. Yeah, it's okay. It's up to you. But let me give you the tips. Okay, when you are working with gas turbine, okay, always calculate the CP average. Okay, why is it like this? Okay, average CP. Okay, maybe you still remember this one. How? Integral CP dt over delta T. Okay, always use this one. Maybe in the exam I'm gonna bring this out. Okay, you need to. Why? Because it's much simpler and you don't complicate yourself, because this one is CP what? This one is CP average. Okay, that's a tips for you. Then you have T2 at isentropic. S here means isentropic minus T1 divided with T2 actual. minus T1. Okay, when we talk about efficiency and you forget, okay, suppose I can also forget, I forget and we forget the equation, always find out the little one, okay? The smallest one divided by the bigger one, okay? So here, yeah, as you can see here, T to S is always smaller, okay? When we isentropically compress anything, okay, compared to the actual one, we always have smaller temperature of isentropic compression, okay? You got it? And you get the actual work of compression, okay? I never talk about the compressor because there is a fluid horsepower and then brake horsepower, okay? So brake horsepower is equal to some kind of mechanic multiplied with fluid horsepower. And it's gonna be a little bit longer and it will deviate from our study today. Okay, so I'm calling this as the compression work. Okay, so yeah, you get it. Okay, okay, it's gonna be like that. The actual one is always this one. Okay, T2S minus T1 divided with this one. Okay, or what should I do if I know the typical isentropic compression efficiency and I want to find the real work used in there? How? So we can just equate this out, okay? And what? Because T1 is known, T2 we don't know, T3 is known, T4 we don't know. Okay, always use this approach. Okay, then here, okay, here you what? Okay, this efficiency is going to be T2S minus T1 divided with T2 actual minus T1. And by using this typical data, maybe 80%, 90%, you can predict the T2A. Later on, you will find the work is equal N Cp T2A minus T1. Okay, you guys can get it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Got it? Yeah. Okay. It's going to be the same for the 3, for the T4. Okay. When I'm erasing this one, okay. Turbine efficiency is going to be NCP T3 minus T4 actual divided by NCP T3 T4 isentropic. That's why I always ask you to bring your TS diagram. Here, equate out. You know this thing, okay? You get the data. You get from the vendor, okay? Then you can predict this thing, okay? And at the end, the real work of the turbine is NCP T3 minus T4 actual. You can get it? Okay. Typical is there, okay? When you buy turbine from Rolls-Royce, suppose, okay, or GE, General Electric. I'm not sure. I've never bought a turbine, gas turbine, but you can see from their PDF. Okay, I want to buy a turbine. Okay, Allison turbine or Rolls-Royce turbine. Okay, and I want to see your typical isentropic efficiency. Then they will give you usually. They will give you. Okay, they will give you this data. Okay, you can find the fluid horsepower at least, okay, used for that turbine, okay, at least, okay. Maybe the delivered work is going to be this kilowatt, okay. Okay, so yeah, I think we can skip it, okay, because usually it's gonna be like this. This is for the ideal one, suppose, and the non-ideal one is gonna be a little bit to go in this place, okay, and here is in this place, okay. Hey, this is important because you need to find it, okay. Okay, so the cycle efficiency here, okay, cycle efficiency, okay, is always decided by these substances, okay, these substances, okay, these energy, these variables, possibly, I'm not sure, but the variable, this energy involved, okay. So we work at turbine minus work at the compressor, divided by QH, okay, and then you can equate this out. Then you can get this one, okay. So this one came from T3 minus T2, okay, minus T4 minus T1 divided with T3 minus, sorry, okay, divided by T3 minus T2, then okay, 1 minus T4 minus T1 for T3 minus T2. Okay. Okay. So can you mention what is the T1? T1, what is T1? T1 is our environment, or not environment possibly. It's just inlet air temperature. Okay. Inlet air temperature here. So what is T4? What is T4? Anyone can answer me? T4?
Outlet temperature, is it?
Yeah, turbine outlet exhaust temperature. Okay, this turbine. So what is the T2? What is this?
Temperature after compression, sir.
Okay, compressed air temperature. And what is the T3?
Temperature after heating.
After being combusted, okay? Okay. So let me clean this up. Okay. What happens, okay, if suppose I have higher, I bought a turbine from England, suppose, okay, Rolls-Royce, and then I operate it in Abu Dhabi. Okay, wow, it's hot, desert. Okay, what happens to the efficiency when we have higher T1? What happened? What happened to the efficiency? T1 is higher.
Really low, sir.
It's getting lower, okay? Okay. Now, because T4 and T2 cannot be helped, okay? It's there because it's after work, okay? Okay, it's after work. I mean, it happens after the compression or expansion temperature. We cannot control T4 and T2. Now, what happens if I have higher T3? What happens to our efficiency? We have hotter gas turbine, hotter combustion chambers. Sorry, what happened?
Also lower efficiency, sir.
No, it's bigger. Why? Because 1 minus something lower. Okay.
Oh, I see. Okay, sir.
So it's getting bigger. We can only control these two things. Okay. T1 and T3. Okay. We don't control T4 and T2 because it's there. It's the function of our equipment, rotating equipment. Okay. Now I'm gonna tell you a story. Okay. Back then when I was working, okay, with one of our lecturer, maybe I'm not sure. Maybe here, who knows? Pak Aziz, maybe Pak Wawan know it. Okay. Pak Aziz. When I work with Pak Aziz back then, really back then, when I was prior to my master study, I worked with him for the optimization of gas turbine. Okay, they bought the gas turbine, okay, from England. I'm not sure, England or United States, but it was designed for four-season country, okay, and it's operated in Indonesia, which is what? Which is hot, okay, much hotter. And what happens? This one is getting bigger, okay. At Bandung, what is the T1? Maybe at the night is 80 degrees centigrade. At the day, maybe 30. Okay. Any one of you, maybe you pre-COVID, okay, year, okay. I believe you have ever attended ITBS ITB student, okay. Okay. No, unlike your junior, okay. Okay. Yeah, this one. So I have this one. But in Sumatra, okay, in Sumatra, this one is nothing less than T1, is bigger than 35 degrees centigrade. Wow. And then their fuel consumption, okay, because like I said to you before, gas turbine is really quickly affected by our environment, and they have lower efficiency, okay. They have lower efficiency. It's problematic. Because they bought it, they thought maybe something wrong with their fuel. They said, "Oh, nothing wrong. It's nothing wrong. It's there." Okay, the fuel is LNG. Okay, LNG or maybe C4 or C3. Okay, it's there. It's natural gas. So how they increase? Do you think? Now let me ask you, how could they increase the efficiency of their turbine? Anyone has any idea?
No? Burn it at hotter flames, sir.
Oh, you cannot because the fuel cannot be changed, and there is another constraint in there, the material. Okay, you cannot heat it. Suppose your material was designed at 900, you never want to heat it at 1000. It will melt. Okay, what else, Kevin? Or maybe other.
Cool your inlet temperature, sir.
Oh yeah, by using what?
Blowing.
It doesn't have that much. They use their fire truck, okay, to spray the water at the inlet of gas turbine. So since there is, I believe you have studied about the cooling tower, okay, that's hot day, 35 degrees centigrade, above 35, okay, because Sumatra is hot, okay. They is at the day. What I mean, when you are making artificial cooling tower, the temperature will be significantly lower. Okay, they can maybe get 3 or 4 degrees lower, and they said it improves our efficiency a lot. They said like that. Okay, just the manager said during the day after 11 a.m. until maybe around 2 or 3. Okay, they always ready the fire truck or maybe the water tank truck in front of the gas turbine, and they sprinkle it water. Okay, so they can get lower T. Okay, that's because you cannot heat it up. Okay, you don't want to heat it up that much. Okay, and furthermore, when you heat it up, that means what? You increase the flow of fuel. It's also problematic because the overall efficiency will be lower. Okay. Okay, that's what can I share to you? Okay, so yes, so say like I said to you before. Okay, when you have isentropic expansion or compression is always like this. Okay, case like this, but when you have polytropic, okay, it's going to be like this. Okay, n, so n is always bigger than gamma. Okay, now we can also estimate the T3, okay, in order to find the NCP delta T. Okay, okay, how? Okay, like this, okay? In real, very real turbine application, here we have S, we have T, we have something like this, okay? This 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Let me be honest to you, we only know at this one and this one only. We do not know this T3 and T2. We do not know, okay? Here we only okay, we only record from dynamometer or any other equipment the brake horsepower. Only that, okay? It's we are really blind during real operation, okay? So how can we estimate? Okay, because we need it, okay? In order to find the fluid horsepower, isentropic work or maybe polytropic work, we need to find it. How to find it? Okay, simple. You can use this approach, okay? I want you to record this one, T3 equal to T2 plus QH M CP, and M here is MA and CP is air, okay, working fluid. Okay, QH, okay, later I will, sorry, QH is N of the H multiplied with, sorry, and this one is mole of fuel, okay, mole of fuel multiplied with its heating value, okay, maybe it's going to be LH3, okay, that's all, okay, you can estimate it, okay. So at the real operation of the turbine, okay, you have this 1, 2, 3, 4. The thermocouple, okay, thermocouple can only be fixed at 1 and 4, okay. Okay, thermocouple can only be fixed in there, okay. I believe you have studied MPA, okay, last semester, okay. Nobody wants to fix thermocouple at the outside, at the outlet of compressor, okay. A lot of moving part, it's not good, okay. We only know this data, okay. We only know this data and only know the fuel consumption, okay. And then we know the work at the turbine. That's all. At the real application, we only know those things, okay. T1, P1, and then T4, P4. P4 is implicitly implied, okay, implicitly said as 1 bar. And T4, we know it by measuring through the thermocouple, okay. And the fuel consumption, sorry. The fuel consumption, we got it from the datasheet, okay. And the turbine work, we got it from the control panel, control temperature, okay. From the PC used by controller, okay, by the operator. We don't know the T2, we don't know the T3, okay. We don't know it. How can we estimate it? We can use this estimation, okay. Then yes, and then you can also use this total cycle efficiency, okay. This I just copy and paste it from Professor Harris' book, okay. This approach is quite useful, okay, when you only have this one and then this one and then pressure ratio, okay. And you know the T3, you know the T1, okay. Then you can get this one, okay. It's very fast approach to estimate the overall cycle efficiency, okay. I'm gonna share it to you, and I want you to do it in your home as homework, okay. So please screenshot this thing, okay. I don't have access for plant utility system. I'm not sure. I will ask Pak Wawan or Pak Hendra to create the assignment, okay. How many days do you want to finish this? 1 week? Okay, less than 1 week. Okay, this is simple. Okay, submit it before the class next week, Wednesday at 8. Okay, the due is Wednesday 8 a.m. next week. Okay, you can use I have sent you this. Actually, I have sent you this PowerPoint. Okay, you can work it by yourself. This is your assignment number 2. Okay, assignment number 1 was this thing. Okay, was this thing. Okay, you just need to rewrite and redo it by yourself. And then it's assignment number 2. Okay, assignment number 2 is this one. Okay, cycle efficiency. You can use any approach. Okay, you can use this approach. Okay, or you can also use the much classical approach with TS diagram. It's up to you. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about the effect of pressure ratio and firing temperature. Okay. So when we have ideal cycle, means what ideal cycle? Both compression and expansion are work isentropically. Okay. There is no effect at all. Okay, at the fire temperature and at the pressure ratio. Okay, when you have ideal cycle, okay, any pressure ratio is fine for the cycle efficiency. Okay, even though it will reach some kind of ceiling. Okay, maybe 60%, something like that. Okay, but when you increase the pressure ratio, it will not decrease our overall efficiency. But when you have polytropic phenomena, polytropic both compression and expansion, it's going to be what can I say? It's going to create some issues. Okay, so you will have a certain range that is optimum for your cycle efficiency. And here, please don't get confused. Higher inlet temperature of turbine causes higher overall efficiency, means it is not T1. Okay, it's not T1. Okay, this one is T3. Okay, because when it's not the inlet of the turbine gas turbine, but it's the inlet of the turbine. Okay, when you have higher temperature of compressed air and combusted air, okay, it's always useful. Okay, when you want to expand it. Okay, that is the case. Okay, and I'm not sure. I have never bought a turbine before. I never read the turbine datasheet before. Okay, it's there in our plant utility book, but actually I never read it. But I'm not sure. But usually they give you this type of data. It's like compressor curve. Okay, usually, but I'm not sure. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, usually they give you this data. Okay. Okay, maybe not all of them. Maybe this one. Okay, maybe. Okay, maybe this one. Okay, just one. So you can operate the turbine at your optimum range. Okay, at your optimum range. Okay, you can keep it. Okay, you can keep your pressure ratio. Okay. Okay, and there are always two things, like I always say to you before. It is called a seesaw effect. Here the pressure ratio, okay, and here is the heat rate. Okay, somehow you can pursue the heat rate, okay, and the pressure ratio you neglect, but it's affected. Okay, and when you take care about your pressure ratio, the heat rate. Okay, maybe you want to get this one. Okay, this one is optimum one, sir. You said that, but there is another curve, okay, that states maybe your heat rate, okay, is well affected. You know, heat rate, the heat delivered, or maybe the work delivered by your turbine is going to be affected. Okay, so you need to optimize those things. Okay. Okay, so this one is the type of fuel. Okay, this one is your third assignment. Okay. Okay. Try to calculate the T3. Okay, for let me sorry, try to, sorry, I made mistake. Try to calculate the fuel consumption. Sorry, why? Fuel consumption when the T3 is decided at 1200 Kelvin. So then you need to test it with methane, hydrogen, and gasoline. Okay, test it. Okay, I want the T3 at 1200 Kelvin. Okay, calculate the fuel consumption for each type of fuel. Okay, but the air is going to be the same. Okay, 100 mole per second. CP is going to be the same. Okay, then you can find the data from here. Okay, the data, maybe you can use this one, HHV, or you can use this one, NHV, but it's better using. Okay, I mean, this assignment, this third assignment is necessary for you. Okay, I want you to prove why can we assume that the working fuel is air. Okay. Okay. I want you to find it. Find the fuel consumption for each of them. Okay. Methane, hydrogen, and gasoline. I want you to find the fuel consumption for this case. And then maybe to prove your concept, I want you to make a ratio of flow. Maybe this one is N fuel, here is N air. Okay, can you get it? Do it by yourself. Okay, I wait for this one at next Wednesday. Okay, sorry, I didn't think clearly. Okay, so it should be like this. Okay, the T3 is fixed at 1200 Kelvin. Okay. Okay. And I want you to calculate the fuel consumption for methane, hydrogen, and gasoline. Okay. And then use this ratio, flow ratio. Okay. Then by calculating this one, I want you to create, I want you to imprint to your understanding, imprint to your mind, that fuel is somewhere there, but we need some sort of, not some sort, but we need to consider its flow rate. But maybe, is it gonna be significant or is it gonna be not significant? It depends on your calculation. Okay. Okay, that's it. And then type of turbine. Okay, I just copy and paste it from Professor Harris' book. Okay, single shaft, multi-shaft. In here, multi-shaft here, usually there is a gearbox in here. Okay, there is a gearbox in there. To what? To control the rotation. Okay, but it's there. Okay, but anyway, usually gas turbine is like this, either aero derivative or industrial derivative. Okay, either in your airplane. Okay, turboprop airplane, turbojet airplane, and then at the chemical plant is usually single shaft. Okay, And then here is the gas turbine, okay? Lot of type, okay? Saturn, Centaur, Taurus, something like this, but usually people buy it from GE, okay? And yeah, we know this one. This one is power rating, okay? Power rating and the thermal efficiency is around this one. So when you have this data, okay, I don't want I don't want to give you this as an assignment, but can you imagine, okay? Okay, when we have thermal efficiency is there, okay? Suppose this one is cycle efficiency, okay? Okay, cycle, okay? Okay, 1 minus what? T4 minus T1, T3 minus T2, okay? Yeah. I want you to imagine, okay, how much the air, okay, how much of air is going to be consumed, okay, for maybe unit of time, okay, maybe per second or per of a minute, and then imagine it by yourself, okay. When you have been able to calculate the ideal Brayton cycle, at least you will know this, okay. Then it's gonna be like this, okay. Okay, it's gonna be like this: T1, T4, T2, T3, this S. Then, yeah, at least you know the burning temperature maybe is around 900 degrees Celsius, and here is maybe around 30 degrees Celsius, and you can imagine what is the temperature of T4 and T2. Okay, okay, you can imagine it. Okay, okay, okay. I think that's the end of the class today. Okay, any question? It's already 4:39. Any question? Or it's just easy? Actually, I have one. Actually, I will have one more. Wait a minute. If you want, let's watch it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Okay. Wait. Okay. Oh, maybe it's used because it's versatility. Okay. When I read from the magazine, okay, they said that they can change the fuel from gasoline to the kerosene to the after, okay, aviation turbine turbo, and then aviation fuel fuel to the diesel fuel, anything, just simply by draining their tank, okay, because it offers us a lot of versatility, a lot of thing happens, a lot of fuel types, okay, as long it can be nebulized, okay, and you can see and read it by yourself in Professor Harry's book. There are several rule of thumb for gas turbines fuel, okay, at the end of chapter 6. Okay, really sorry I showed you wrong picture, but it's there. I mean, they use the gas turbine, okay. Another vehicle from another nation never use gas turbine, okay. They use diesel engine, okay. We will talk about diesel engine maybe by another lecturer, but gas turbine is really cool actually, okay. It can be used with very high power throughput and a lot type of fuel, okay. And it occupies small place, okay. But still, the exhaust of gas turbine is really hot, okay, compared to the exhaust of diesel engine. And then what can I say? It has its what kind of the sound, okay, vibration sound or something. I mean, a lot of you cannot be that silent when you are using gas turbine vehicle, okay, compared to the diesel one. But it has its own drawbacks, but it's there. It's good, okay. Any question before I end this class? No? It's easy, isn't it? It's all easy, isn't it?
I don't have any questions. Yeah.
It's easy, isn't it? It's simple, isn't it? As long you can calculate the ideal Brayton, so anything else will be piece of cake. Okay, use your logic. Okay. Okay, if there is no question, I'm gonna close this class. Maybe from Pak Hendra or Pak Wawan, is there any additional statement or additional information?
It's not from me. It's okay.
Okay, then let's stop it for today. Okay.